Our own Jesse Weber has been down at the courthouse since, long before I got up, about 5 or so this morning, so he could get a seat in that courtroom and take this all in firsthand so we could chat about it. Jesse, how are you? You hanging in there? You look like you're adding clothes as the day goes on there.
I remember what toes and fingers felt like, but that was a long time ago. But the important thing is we're getting the story to our viewers. That's the most important thing.
So give us some insight into that courtroom. I remember with O.J. and maybe more apropos the Michael Jackson case out in California, when he entered the courtroom for any reason, it was like church. I mean, you could hear a pin drop. Everybody's checking this guy out. I have to imagine it was similar for Weinstein when he entered the courtroom.
Well, I want you to imagine this. You have about 60 to maybe 80 media people in that courtroom, and it was packed, but there's no cell phones allowed to be used. There's no working laptops allowed to be used. So everybody's just typing and then just writing. And all of a sudden, there was some chatter. As soon as he walked in, you could hear a pin drop. It was pretty amazing. We've all been waiting to see his appearance, and now we see him. First time I've seen him personally since that back surgery. He walks in using the walker. He had a few moments of exchange with his attorneys, a few laughs with Donna Rotuno, then goes to the defense's table, and it was all business after that. A back and forth between the prosecution and the defense on a number of procedural issues leading up to the trial. It just shows what this case is going to look like. Neither side is giving in even a little bit, and based upon some of the accusations and words that were used in the courtroom, even on this opening day, it looks like we're going to see fireworks throughout this trial.
Well, let's get a sample of that. What do you got, Jesse? Would you give us some of that dirt? I know that James Burke, the judge, is pretty strict and going to keep this thing moving along. But what was some of the interaction there that you mentioned?
So there were two moments that stood out more than any others. One, Harvey Weinstein actually audibly said no, no, no when there was a discussion about where is he going to be during the course of this trial. There was an issue if he's going to be confined to New York. He obviously wants to spend his time in Connecticut. So at one point, his attorneys perhaps mistakenly said, yes, we agree, we stipulate that he'll spend the weekends in Connecticut. He said no, actually made an audible no in open court and said, no, I want it also on the weekdays. It appears the judge is going to grant that. That was a little bit a moment of excitement, but really where the fireworks began is when the state accused the defense of improper comments to the media. In fact, saying that the way they're describing witnesses is abominable. They also accused the defense of revealing secret information, confidential information from sealed documents. Now, the judge had a comical moment where he said, Ms. Rotuno, I'm assuming this is about you. What did you say? What did you do? And she denied doing anything improper. She said she has a right to defend her client both in the public and in the courtroom, and that anything that the media has said about secret information, they got on their own. She said she did nothing wrong. There was no gag order instituted by the judge, which was a bit surprising given the high profile nature of this case. But yeah, both sides really getting strong, even in terms of discovery motions and what's going to be presented from one side to the next. It just gives a sampling of what we can expect in the 6 to 8 weeks of this trial.
Yeah, so Ms. Rotuno's reputation precedes her. The judge just assumed she might have been the one that was making some of those comments. What did they cover other than some of the housekeeping about maybe witnesses? Did they do actual motions in limine? They obviously talked about sequestration. They mentioned the gag order issue. Anything else that came up that's going to affect how this trial plays out?
Absolutely. So there was a lot of discussion about what are we going to see, and some of it was kept close to the vest. What we did learn is that at this point, one of the controversial detectives who came forward during the course of this trial, it was one of the reasons you recall that one of the accusers, Lucia Evans, who made up one of the counts in the original indictment, that charge was dropped due to alleged misconduct by this officer, this detective. He is not going to be able to be called by the defense, at least not directly. What the judge ultimately said is you can cross-examine witnesses about this detective, and if it should have to come forward that he needs to testify in response to these witnesses, so be it. But you, defense, are not allowed to call him, which seems like a blow to the defense, because if they're trying to show that there was an improper prosecution, improper moves by the law enforcement, not being able to call that witness is a big blow to them. Also, the defense was basically told by the judge, you have enough at this point, because there was a discussion about can they have unredacted versions of certain materials from the prosecution. The judge disagreed with the defense and said, you have enough, the prosecution has complied with what they're supposed to do, and you just need to move forward. You saw some wins by the prosecution, some losses by the defense, but at this point, it's moving into jury selection, which is going to be a difficult task for both sides.
Oh my gosh. I mean, to me, as I've said before, I think this case is going to be won or lost by jury selection, because you've got to find people who are honest enough to tell you the truth. Yes, I can be biased. No, I'm not, and I can help you. It's going to be unfolding in a very dramatic fashion, and I know, Jesse, you will be there every day to bring it to us. So I appreciate you braving the elements and the crowds and all of the excitement that takes place down there when one of these trials is covered. It is hard work, and I appreciate the effort. Thanks, bud.
My pleasure. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, we'll talk to you later. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk more about the Harvey Weinstein case, of course. Now we talk about two of them, New York and Los Angeles. My guests are standing by. We will come back with more. This is Law and Crime.